My name is Mac Dempsey, and I am a geek. Basically, you name it, I'm into it. I'm a huge Star Trek science fiction fan. I'm a math and computer science major. I was heavy into like Magic the Gathering. I hosted LAN computer parties back when I was growing up. Back in high school, I used to program computer programs on my TI-85 calculator that I would use to solve my math homework. I took quantum physics when I was in college, even though it had nothing to do with my degree, basically just as a fun elective. I hadn't taken two of the prerequisites for it, but the touchtone system at the time would let you register for classes you weren't qualified for. And I was basically just kind of curious about some of the philosophical arguments people were having about quantum physics. So that's kind of a little bit about myself. Currently, I don't have a job. I quit my job 2 months ago so that I could play poker. I've played poker pretty heavily for about 6 years now. I love it because I love strategy games, and in my mind, poker is the ultimate strategy game. It's very, very math intensive, and apart from that, it's just got a really kind of fun, deceptive element to it, where there's a lot of minds battling it out, and so I kind of enjoy that battle of egos and things. I'm going to take you on a tour of the house. First of all, here's the living room. We have a couple of poker tables in the living room. We also have a poker table in the basement. We play poker here every week. We've got weekly cash games and tournaments and things. Right here I want to especially point out this door. This is actually the fake door that my roommate and I made about 2 weeks ago. We actually played a prank on our roommate Molly, where we walled in this entire archway. We walled in the living room as a joke. We kind of casually mentioned early in the week that the landlord might be stopping by to do some work on the house. And so basically when she got home, the living room was all walled in. We'd attached a working light fixture, and we had this door set up, which cartoon style opens up on a fake brick wall. It was actually so convincing that she got home and she said her reaction was, well, what the hell, and that she was totally convinced by it and was mostly annoyed by the poor craftsmanship. I actually asked her, well, when you saw the brick wall, you knew it was a prank by Mac and Joe, right? And she's like, no, I thought the door just wasn't done yet, right? So her reaction was that it was just kind of poor craftsmanship. That was kind of funny. If you want to come into the living room, as you can see, I do not live the glamorous lifestyle of the poker professionals you'll see on TV. We pay about $200 a month for this house. I've learned to live pretty frugal. I think that's the experience of a lot of poker players in Madison, that you're struggling to just kind of get by. It's definitely not easy to make a profit. Poker is a very kind of tedious game where you grunt out a living slowly. Here's my movie collection. I'm a huge movie geek and a fan of movies. I've got hundreds of movies, including such wonderful classics as Repo Man, A Boy and His Dog, and of course Donald in Math Magic Land, possibly the greatest movie of all time. If you want to come into the kitchen, as you can see, even though 2 of the 5 of us in this house are unemployed and play poker primarily for our income, we can't find 10 minutes to clean the dishes. I'll show you my room quick. Here's my bedroom, also perhaps a tad disorganized. I read a lot, very heavily, especially a lot of poker strategy kind of books. I also read general books on math and game theory and economic kind of stuff. And I keep a poker journal. In here I keep things like summaries of some of the math essays I've been reading. Recently I was looking at John Nash's essays on collaborative and non-collaborative game theory. I read topics like Kelly betting, things like that. I read investment books because they often have topics like standard deviation and expected value and how to weigh the trade-off between the two. That I think a lot of the topics in investment cross-apply with poker, and I find that interesting and useful. And of course I keep tables of statistics that I read and memorize. And periodically I'll keep a journal so that I can estimate for myself what my average win rate is and what my standard deviation is for my personal sessions. In the months listed here, for example, I had an average win of $7 an hour. So I got that going for me. Here's a picture of me back in high school. I used to do some theater and things like that. All right, come on into the basement. You have to see this. This is my prized possession. It is a craps table that transforms into a poker table and vice versa. Here, for example, is the poker felt along the wall here. Basically, the sides collapse down, and the railing folds down to allow the poker table felt to sit on top squarely. My friend Marcus built this about 6 or 7 years ago before he moved to Las Vegas, and it's been a great source of fun for us. We used to have casino parties here a lot, and we still use it when we have poker tournaments weekly at the house. Well, if you're all set, let's gamble. All right, well, our first stop is a bar on Madison's west side. They have a free poker tournament here every Thursday night, but the sweet thing is that as the poker tournament has people bust out, they usually have 2 or 3 side cash games going on. They're lower stakes than the casino, but they're usually pretty soft games because you get a lot of random people here that are just playing to have fun and stuff like that. So it can be pretty consistently profitable. I'm going to go in and check it out. I'll be right back. All right. Well, the tournament's just winding down right now. They're down to the last table, and they've got 2 side ring games going on. So yeah, it looks pretty sweet. Let's go to our next stop. Well, we're now at a bowling alley on Madison's west side. It's kind of like the other game in that there's a back room with professional casino quality poker tables. We're going to go in and check it out, and actually I think we're going to try to sneak the camera in this time. Poker's got sort of a quasi-legal status, I guess you would say, in Madison, in that if you're playing for cash, and most places do, then it's completely illegal. So let's check it out. Alright, well that didn't work at all. Our hidden camera is about 1.5 feet long, so they stopped us before we even got in. They did have 2 tables of cash games going. They have a $40 tournament that goes here on Thursdays that had already wound down. This place is actually a lot looser than the last place. The cash games are $100 buy-in, and it's pretty aggressive where people rebuy, and throw around hands like 6-8 and stuff. So it's definitely a really profitable game, but it's also, you know, kind of stressful because it's high risk, very volatile. You expose yourself to swings. Okay, well we've got one last stop. I want to show you guys that I can be somewhat comfortable in front of an audience, so we are here to sing some karaoke. Come on in. Alright, well, I'm applying to be on Beauty and the Geek, and if it's alright with you girls, I just wanted to film myself talking to some pretty girls, because I don't want them to think I'm totally socially dysfunctional. People don't always think of pretty girls as being cool with like math and Star Trek and, you know, computer games and, you know, things like that. You know, like,
do you think I'm a pretty girl?
Yeah. Alright. Okay.
Well, I'm good at math.
Do you think I'm cute?
You could be attractive, yeah.
Could be attractive, alright. Carefully worded.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it takes a while for me to get to know somebody. Does that make sense?
Well, I appreciate you letting me talk to you. Okay. One last thing. I have a confession. It's actually been 2 years since I've ever kissed a girl. Alright, 2 years. Alright, it's been a long dry spell, and I was wondering if you would be willing to help me break that dry spell.
It's a dry spell.
They should never give a license to a man who doesn't say plays with that.
Appreciate your time. All right.
That's everybody. Mouth.